So welcome. We're having a meeting today on the Core Values Committee. Today is Wednesday, October 12th. It is 11 o'clock. Karen, can you do a roll call? Or Lee? I'll do a roll call. All right. Councilperson Shirley.
Here.
Councilperson Gagliotti. And Mayor Kerr here. So there's two of the three. And what we're going to do is go out for public comment before we launch. So public comment must deal with matters subject to this jurisdiction of the city and the committee that are not on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address Core Values Committee on matters not appearing on the agenda may do so now. The public may comment on any other matter listed on the agenda at the time the matter is being considered. There will be a time limit of not more than 3 minutes for each speaker. No action will be taken on matters brought up under this item, and all comments are referred to staff. Any public comments? I am not seeing any public, so I'm going to pull it. Ms. Shirley.
Mayor, I just have a question. Can we have someone text Councilmember Gagliotti to see if he's going to come?
I will.
I'll take care of that, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
And they're just busy up at the counter there for a minute, and then somebody got bumped off their computer and internet.
Okay.
So hopefully everybody's back and we're up and running.
Okay. Well, we're all good. So what I'm going to suggest, and if you're okay with this, Ms. Shirley, why don't we take like 3 minutes, a 3-minute break. Let's wait for John Gagliotti, or at least a response, and then we can dive in. Are you guys okay with it? So I'm just gonna stop my video and mute, and I will be back in a couple of minutes.
Okay, I'll do the same.
It gets back.
I'm back.
All right, Councilperson Gagliotti is here with us now, and so we're going to continue on to item number 4, the initial discussion regarding the identification and definition of the city's official core values. And I'll turn this over to Chief Hoyne.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilmember Gagliotti and Councilmember Shirley. So this is our initial meeting on this, and it's been a long time coming. And I just wanted to give you some of my background in this. I've worked for 3 separate police departments in the last 15 years now that have all gone through mission, vision, and value statements. One including an organization that's much larger than this with close to 200 employees, and was on the committee and the leadership team that define those core values and mission statement and vision statement. First and foremost, the first thing we did is we had a set of core values at all 3 of those agencies. And the things that we looked at is, did we want to even keep those values, or did we want to change them? Or did we want to add or subtract? Because agencies change and cities change and organizations change. So the first thing we reviewed was, our current core values really what we want to focus on? Second thing is, and I just found a hard copy of the article in my papers, and I'll be glad to scan it and send you guys out an article. It's from the Harvard Business Review from the early 2000s that we read when we were doing some of that. And it said, what kind of values? Because there's different types of values. There's core values, there's aspirational values, permission to play values, and accidental values. And having a sense of what those mean, which they're described in the article, can help how you pick and define values. And just for instance, core values are what we think they are. They're bedrocks. They can't be violated. They are the rules of the game. Second is aspirational values. A lot of people mistake core values for aspirational values. Like, what do we want to be when we're at our best? And sometimes those are very difficult because it takes time to reach them, and or you're always striving because you set values so high that, you know, they're not common sense. Permission to play values, this is one of the things that gets mixed up the most. Like, you'll hear people say integrity. We have accountability as one of our values here at the police department. But when you say something like integrity, would you hire somebody who doesn't have integrity? So of course not. You want to hire people with integrity. So is that really a core value, or is that permission to play? You get to come on board, come up in the treehouse and play if you have integrity. So that's maybe not a core value. And then the last one is accidental core values. And that's what happens when leaders and CEOs and the culture of the organization kind of sets the values in informal manner over time. So I'll be glad to send out, scan and send out the copy of the article as well as a link to it, because it's still online, I found out, and it might be something good to read. So the other problem I've had with core values, and it was at the airport district and here for the police department, is when I got on board in both places, I asked people if we had mission, vision, and value statements, and they said yes. And I said, where are they? And we found them in a closet on a plaque. Here in Delray Oaks, it was 2 pages, and the core values were written into the mission statement, and they were long and nobody knew them. So one mistake that a lot of organizations make is they have long definitions. And if they're long, then people won't remember them, and they then start not abiding by them or really caring about them, and they just become a plaque on a wall that gets put in the closet 5 years later. So keeping definitions concise with limited verbiage lets people at least remember some of the definition, if not all of it. Our vision statement is to be a model small town police department. It's very, very, very concise, right? And our mission is to support the mission of the city of Delray Oaks through professional law enforcement services and dedicated community service. And they're short like that because then they're memorable, and we review them at all our in-staff meetings. They're at all of our not in-staff, but they're at all of our all-staff meetings. And you'd be surprised how hard it is to get people to remember those short definitions. So I will open it up to ideas and questions about any of that, or where you think we want to go from here, whether it's keeping the same core values, adding something, or just reviewing all of them and seeing if it's time for the city to update them that in a manner that more accurately reflects the direction and the future of the city. So Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you. That's just my intro, and glad.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, please, if you could send that link. Yes. So let's start with Vice Mayor Gagliotti.
I'm more just in a kind of, information gathering. I recognize the need for us to review this, but beyond that, I think that the core values that we've established are, they're sound, and they apply today. But beyond that, I'm just kind of curious. I'm curious, what the purpose of the committee is going to be. If it's a review and revise, then I'm happy to participate in that. Definitely, I think we should review. At the very least, I think we should review. But if it's going to be a revisional thing, then it probably needs to be a much larger, a larger input.
Thanks, Ms. Shirley.
It was, as I recall from our last strategic meeting, is that we added a core value of diversity and inclusivity. And then as a council, we decided that we needed to define those core values. So I guess my understanding of this committee is that we're not reviewing, but we're essentially just defining the core values. And then I'm guessing that those core values would then go back to the council in some form, whether it goes back to a council meeting or whether it goes back to maybe the next time we do strategic planning. Those definitions are there, and then the council as a group is able to agree with them. So I guess my perspective is not necessarily trying to decide if we want to keep or not have some of these core values, but that we are just defining them. And that this initial meeting was, initially thought to, we were gonna, I don't know how, I guess we need to talk about our process for that. Are we going to split it up? Are we gonna, look at maybe example definitions that we have now? I don't know. So, but I'm open to whatever our committee would like.
Great.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think the appropriate place for any kind of review is in a strategic planning scenario. I mean, that is one of the items that is always on the strategic value or strategic planning, where we actually go into in depth, not only the values, but the mission and the vision, right? Because just like you said, Chief, things change, and so perhaps vision changes and things like that. And I agree. I think the entire council needs to be involved in that. I also remember the conversation being about defining what we currently have. So while I love the idea of a big, broader swath at some point, we're also in an election cycle and there will be a new council. And we historically have done strategic planning in January. And it seems to me like whatever work we're able to put together now can be reviewed and revised at that point as well. But for now, I think I like the idea of definitions. Yeah, but I also like concise. I think a mission and a vision have to be super concise. I'm not sure definitions for values have to be quite as concise. I think everybody has kind of this general definition of what these values are, but it's about, applicability to what we as a city are doing and how we interact. I would also, talk to Chief's point about integrity and how we would only hire people with integrity. I do think, I work for the government. We are constantly reminded of things we need to do. We have yearly training, we have all this kind of stuff. So it's a matter of really reiterating whatever it is we come up with as we move forward with our work. So those are my two points. Yeah, Kim.
Yeah, and I think, I did take some time to look at other jurisdictions to see, some jurisdictions define them, some don't. So that was really interesting. But, I think initially I thought of core values in terms of the council, but I think we should also remember that these are core values for the city so that they apply to staff, and everyone as well. Like, so I, part of me wonders, like, they should also get to have input into this too. I don't know how we, would want to go about that, but if these are values that they have to align with as well, I'd like to hear what they have to say too. So, and I agree with Chief Hoyne that concise is good, and I'm terrible at being concise. So I'm just warning you now, it's not my strong suit.
So go ahead.
So speaking to that with the definitions and conciseness, the reason concise is good and lengthy with a lot of detail is there has to be grace in that because they do apply to staff. And if we define it too much and somebody makes an honest mistake, then you have people accusing staff or somebody of, hey, you didn't get this document to me in a timely manner, right? So the core values have to have some grace for staff to work into instead of, using it as a bludgeon to, to call out mistakes and things like that.
And counsel. We all need a little grace. So, so I do want to say that Kim worked on some just tentative definitions, and I took a look at it. And John Gagliotti, we suggested getting those to you beforehand, but it didn't work time-wise. And so how would you like to move forward? I'm looking at you, John.
Yeah, let's look at the definitions. Let's
Okay.
definitely do that.
So Kim, do you have those up?
I'm not able to share my screen.
Well, I think we can make that happen. Is Kim?
Yes, hi, it's Lee. I'm gonna work on
Sorry.
that. I think you can share screens, but I'll see what's going on
Yeah,
my
I
end,
have-
okay?
I have a share screen button at the bottom, the green button. Do you?
Yeah, it just says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Got it. I have the same thing. Jeff, do you?
My setting says participants can share their screens, so
Let's see.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
There.
Jeff-
go there.
Maybe Jeff, can you share your screen? Maybe I could send you the link. or
It'll
something.
work now.
Oh, yeah.
There it goes. Yay. Thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
Okay, no judgment on how many tabs I have open. Okay, I'm just saying that right now.
How am I asking that?
So we created just a little intro context. I don't know, do you want me to read these? Do you want to just read them on your own?
Why don't you go ahead and read it and then pepper it with, kind of what you're thinking was, where it came from.
Okay, so this intro was just a little bit of, is just that, right? Core values are the highest priorities, deeply held beliefs, and fundamental driving forces of an organization. Core values define who we are as we could say jurisdiction, municipality, organization, guide our decision-making, help us recruit, hire, engage, manage, and retain quality employees, and inspire good relations with the people we serve. So that's the intro. Our first core value, again, in no particular order, diversity and inclusiveness. We said we believe that a healthy city is one that acknowledges and celebrates our diversity as a community and workplace. We strive to ensure decisions are made out of kindness and acceptance for all, and with recognition that differences are valued and make us a more vibrant and equitable community. Racism, discrimination, and bias are not tolerated within the workplace or in our community.
Could we just stop right there?
Sure.
And John, I'd like to hear your initial thoughts.
I liked the,
Kim, can you go up just so we can see the context again?
Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry, John.
yeah, no, I'm in agreement with that. I think that's fine. I don't know if I'm just looking at our website. I don't know if we need the preamble for that, but I understand what that is. I mean, that just kind of sets the mind. It's like, this defines core values, but, and that could probably be colored when we get the link and see, what other people who think about this a lot more than we do, also kind of how they define that. But I think that sounds good. So just getting to diversity and inclusiveness. I agree with everything, all the way up until we actually we define what not inclusiveness and not being diverse is. That's where I think that we could, that's where I think that where we are at that point, different people's morality are different, and so I wouldn't want to. Well, we're only calling out one of the isms, we're only saying racism, but we're not. And I like the idea of saying that bias is not tolerated.
What about
What
I agree with. See, the thing is, what I'm struggling with is I agree with the statement. I'm not saying that it would be universally agreed to, right? Because different people are going to define it differently. I just had this standing conversation with somebody about it just because of all the blow up that's happening down in LA right now. And I mean, it's just.
So John, what if we took out racism and just had discrimination and bias are not tolerated within the workplace or in our community? I don't know about the word bias either. I'm a little, we all come in with our biases. Like, let's
Absolutely.
be honest, right?
No, that was my point when I was having this discussion with, about what's going on in LA. Is that, I mean, people have what they have. They're allowed to believe, they're allowed to think what they're allowed to think. If they voice it and they act on it, well, then that's where they can get into trouble. But they're allowed to think what they're allowed to think. I mean, I don't want anybody to tell me what to think. That's the thing.
Right.
And from an operational perspective, Councilmember Shirley, when you start saying bias is not tolerated in the community, what about the officer who is dealing with a neighbor dispute and obviously one neighbor is biased?
Right.
When
Right.
we can't take any enforcement action or change that bias, then we're tolerating it. So it's actually a very high hurdle for us to reach all the time operationally within the community. Now,
Right.
they can't act on that bias and commit a crime against somebody, but they certainly can have their biases, and there's not much we can do about it operationally, if that
Oh.
makes sense. So
Okay, can I just say discrimination? Maybe discrimination is.
Not tolerated.
uh, And I'm assuming we don't have
Other than
to,
saying- I'd like to go with the positive in saying what I absolutely agree. We believe in a healthy city like that. We acknowledge and we celebrate diversity and community work, but I think everyone can agree with that. That's good. We strive to ensure decisions are made out of kindness and acceptance of all. I think that's great. It sets a tone and recognition. Everything before everything past that point is starting to say what the city won't do, and I think that's
so you feel like this last sentence kind of,
it's the
shifts it
intolerance
in
of
a
the
way.
city. Yeah, it's kind of saying like,
is it redundant as well? Because we've already stated that
we're
our
definitely
decisions are made out of kindness and acceptance.
I absolutely, I mean, that's something, there's universal, that's puppies, everyone loves puppies, right? I mean, but it's true, I think it's a true state, and I think it sets a good positive tone.
Okay. Do we want to take that last sentence out?
Yeah.
I'm hearing what everybody's saying, but I do believe, I mean, this value in particular, I mean, we're seeing it kind of all over the place. And I'm just concerned about not making a strong statement.
But what are we
Mayor?
gonna do? Like, man, what are we gonna do to enact that? I mean, is the council going to change an action that it might take because it feels it's not, we as a way of exemplifying this,
Well, let's take that to the extreme, right? So, so for me, these core values are about the lens in which we make decisions from a council perspective, right? And I don't think discrimination has any place in council decisions. I'm fine to take it out. But I do think that it's an important, it's a strong statement.
exactly.
Could we put the two words "without discrimination" at the end of the first sentence?
What does that mean?
We believe that a healthy city is one that acknowledges and celebrates our diversity as a community and a workplace without discrimination.
Yeah, I like that. There we go. I think
Nice,
that's great. I think that's great.
perfect.
Okay.
Nice compromise.
It's good.
So are we ready to move on to fiscal responsibility?
Yeah.
Okay. Fiscal responsibility, we commit to the efficient and effective use of the resources we are provided. Working within the public budget process, we will use all available data to wisely inform our fiscal decisions. We understand that we are fiscally accountable to our community and that resources will be used appropriately to further the goals of our city. Ironically, I found there weren't many cities that had fiscal responsibility as a core goal. This was hard to dig up, but I'm happy we have one.
What I also want to say is that we actively look for ways to basically pay for the things that we, for the services that we want to provide. That to me is also part of the fiscal responsibility, because there's a lot of, I mean, one of the biggest critiques I hear of California, and I work outside of California all the time, is that, California, Sacramento will just say, you will do this, and all the other jurisdictions and businesses all have to basically kind of, even though it may not be, it's an unfunded mandate.
Right. Right.
Local
And
control.
so, Yeah, I would like us to say that, it's true that we commit to the efficient and effective use of the resources that we are provided. Yeah, I got that. But I would also like to say that we actively look for creating those resources so that we can provide services so that we can efficiently and effectively provide services to our community.
So we use all available data. So can we say something like working within the public budget process, we use all available data and look for alternative resources or something like that to wisely inform our fiscal decisions? Add a phrase there.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I don't
its
know.
own- I think it's a sentence that stands on its own.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I agree.
Chief, what I want to say is I want to say we pay for what we provide. Meaning that, or like we find the resources so that we can provide the sources.
Right.
And that can be, it can be going out and actively generating revenue, looking for ways to actively generate revenue, or it could be grants, it could be whatever, but we're going to go out and find the revenues
Right.
so that we can,
Fiscal responsibility.
and we're not going to just commit to a program if we don't have a way to pay for it.
Can I add a operations perspective to this on one of
Yeah.
the instances? I don't know if we'll be able to use all the data, and I don't want to be called on that because there's lots of data to lots of decisions. So something like
Available data?
Yeah.
or our public budget process will be data driven. And then
Which will be data driven.
to wisely inform our fiscal decisions.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice. Nice.
That's great. All right, so now how come up with another sentence, Chief, about
Look, I just want to be clear. I'm not very good at group editing. So,
Okay,
no, you're great. No, Kim, no, you're doing wonderful.
well,
Yeah,
I can tell you.
I appreciate you doing
Yeah.
this. So, yeah.
Sure.
So it was our public budget process, so working within that can come out and just put it our public budget process.
Yeah,
So-
great.
Hey,
So,
our public project, which will be data driven.
Will be data driven. You don't need a comma or yeah.
that still doesn't.
Yeah, just take the comma out.
Okay.
We understand.
Maybe somewhere here.
What I want to say here, and this is an important one for me because this one comes up in when we used to do all our strategic things, is that we point to this when we say, look, we know that we need to generate revenue or protect the revenues that we have. We know that, and so that's what I want to come out here as our core value. Is it this city knows that it needs to generate revenue. It's and it's committed to that, meaning that everyone who comes on here, everyone who comes onto this council knows that we're committed to generating revenue in order to keep the lights on, because we want the city to basically stay a city. We don't want us to go into default. We don't want us to lose our charter. We're committed to that because we love the city and we want to fund it. It's our, and I distill our little city really as a small business. I mean, it's about a small business.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
I could do that within the confines of the sentence that's already there.
Okay. So how do we do that?
We understand that we're fiscally accountable to our community, and that resources will be properly secured and used appropriately to further the goals. of the city.
Sorry, you'll have to say that again. We understand that we are fiscally accountable to our community and that resources will be,
Responsibly secured.
Okay.
Okay.
So that just
Go ahead.
means that we're gonna-
Finish the statement, then I want to come back because I want to
Yeah.
ask what that
um,
means.
and that resources will be or appropriately secured or properly secured and will be used appropriately to further the goals of the city. So that's saying that,
We're getting closer.
yeah, we're going to go out and get resources and use them appropriately. We're going to make sure that we pay, like you said, pay for what we buy. We're going to secure the maybe not appropriate, the net, what's a good word, the necessary
Well,
amount.
the secured to me, that's the part, like, I want to say that we actively seek those opportunities. Maybe
Okay.
it's,
We could say resources will be
I would also,
actively secured.
actively
it's really,
chased. What's a good word for?
yeah, no, that's, I'm gonna
Um,
look at a thesaurus for secured.
Why don't you like secured, John?
It just seems like it's like, it, to me, if I read that, I would just think, okay, it's just, you're going after grants, right? I want to say that,
Oh,
we have a thriving business community and we want to promote, we want to promote
But
keeping our business as well as. you see what I'm
Revenues
saying?
and resources.
What's that?
Revenues and
Yeah,
resources.
I like revenues. I always like that term. I use that a lot.
and so, and that revenue and resources.
And that revenues and resources will
Yeah.
be,
I would also say managed, right?
right.
Managed and,
how about managed
We do, but
appropriately?
we do that.
instead of
We say how we're going to use the resources in the first sentence, which I agree. I think that's where it should be. Once we have the resources, we're efficient, we're effective with applying those resources. Like I think the management is right off the bat, and I think that's where it should be.
Yeah.
But I also want to say that if we want to add police officers, if we want to maintain our charter or like that, we need to find the revenues to keep the lights on.
So what do you think about the sentence we have now, John?
We understand that we're fiscally accountable to our community and that revenues and resources will be responsibly secured and will be appropriately.
too many ands, but
Yeah, it's a pretty long sentence. We understand that we are fiscally accountable. We've already, I guess we could take that out because we already say that we're fiscally accountable with efficient use of, the first statement to me is fiscally accountable.
Okay.
Or we could put
Well-
fiscally accountable in that, say we commit, we say, I don't know, somehow or another, we are fiscally accountable and then the efficient, because we are effective and efficient in our use of the resources. I mean, I like that term fiscally accountable,
Right.
but
Or we could just break up the sentence too. I could put a period here. We understand that we are fiscally accountable to our community and that revenues and resources will be responsibly secured.
I want to say that we seek it, we go out for it. I mean, secured is, and maybe that's the problem. I'm having a hard time with that. Is that it doesn't, it's not an action. It doesn't seem like it's active enough. I want us actively out there looking to bring businesses in. I want us to actively look at development. I want us to actively looking at what development opportunities. I also want to know how can we improve the business the business community for our existing businesses. Like I want us to be this right here is this is the money, and so we need to be, and it's.
how about we use the word actively, like you keep saying, will be
Yeah.
actively sought after.
actively sought and secured.
Yeah.
And
Sought. How do you spell sought? Sought?
SOUGHT.
Yeah.
SOUG.
and secured. Can we also start that sentence with "we are fiscally accountable to our community," or do I mean, it would have to be rearranged. Do we understand that?
No, we don't need it, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually more active. It's
Yeah.
active voice. Yeah, right.
So, but then I'm sorry, the rest of it needs to be a little different. We are fiscally accountable to our community.
And we will
Period.
actively seek and secure.
There you go.
Wait, hold, say it. Okay, we are
Well,
fiscally accountable
I
to
like
our,
the mayor's, like we are fiscally accountable to our community, period.
And we
Period.
will,
I think that should be the second sentence after we commit, or it's the first sentence, one of the two, but that right there says, if we have money, we're going to,
Yeah.
we're accountable with it, which is
And-
that to me should be the thesis. The
so do
first-
you want
the
me to
first-
move it?
I think
Yeah, I
the
think
first
it-
sentence should be the last one almost.
Okay. Okay. We're getting there, but let's finish the last sentence. So we get rid of and that, so revenues and resources will be actively sought and secured and will be used appropriately to further the goals of our city. How do people feel about that?
How about we will actively seek and secure revenues and resources to further the goals of the city?
Yeah, I like that. That's it. It's that, yeah, I like that. We will actively seek and secure revenues and resources
Secure revenue and resources to be used
to
appropriate.
further, to further the goals. of
Further
our
the goals
city.
of the city.
Got it. There you go, Kim. You got it. Okay, so now let's
Oh,
make the arrangement.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I would have done this.
No, yeah, it's fine. Do we want that to be the first sentence?
Yes. I like it.
Yeah, I like that. That's boom. And then, and we commit to the efficient and effective use of resources that are provided. That to me just builds on the accountability.
So what if we put our public budget process last? That way you have the efficient and effective use of resources,
Yeah,
and then you have we're actively seeking and securing
how we
revenue.
get them, right.
And then the end, it's like our public
Yeah,
budget
yeah.
process will be data driven.
That's what I like.
So it kind of builds.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about we are committed to the efficient and effective use of the resources we are provided?
Yeah, I like that too. It's active. It's a continuous thing.
Sorry, where are we, Jeff?
So
in
the
that?
second sentence,
Yeah,
we are committed.
Okay. Value. Okay. How's everybody feeling about it now? Kim,
Yeah, I
can-
like that one.
it.
I mean, I'm happy to read it.
go ahead, Allison.
Okay, fiscal responsibility. We are fiscally accountable to our community. We are committed to the efficient and effective use of the resources we are provided. We will actively seek and secure revenue and resources, to further the goals of our city. Our public budget process will be data-driven to wisely inform our fiscal decisions.
Can we just take the second resources out and just use
Yeah.
revenues? Because it is the same. To
Yeah.
me, I
Yeah.
see them as.
And then the other thing, I am wondering, do we need the fiscal decisions, the last two words, or can it just be to wisely inform our decisions?
Yeah, right.
Because it's not always just, I mean, fiscal just permeates everything.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Good. Yes.
Yep.
All right. Whoo, good work, team.
Woohoo, those are the hard ones.
Okay,
Honesty and integrity.
all
I'm
right,
happy to read it while you can edit.
go ahead and read it, sure.
Okay. Honesty and integrity. We believe honesty is always the best policy, and that we show our integrity when we are authentic, honest, open, and fair in order to honor all who are entrusting us to serve them. We accept responsibility for our actions and strive to build credibility through our behaviors.
How about
Yeah, I
we
don't know. I
believe
don't know.
honesty is always the best policy, period. We show our integrity when we are authentic.
Okay.
And then instead of in order to, just and fair, honoring all, like comma, honoring all who are,
So eliminate in order to.
yeah. And just honoring, because that's a more active,
Oh, and eliminate fair, right?
and fair.
Fair.
Oh, sorry, no,
No,
fair,
no.
I'm sorry, fair, comma, honoring.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And then, and instead of are entrusting all who trust us to serve them.
Okay, yeah, that's a,
Okay, let me read it. We believe honesty is always the best policy. We show our integrity when we are authentic, honest, open, and fair, honoring all who trust us to serve them. We accept responsibility for our actions and strive to build credibility through our behaviors.
okay.
I'm fine with it.
Mhm.
Chief,
Yeah,
from a,
Okay,
okay.
all right.
Open communications and transparency. We believe that transparency is essential to upholding the principles of democracy and achieving trust and accountability. We will communicate openly, listen for understanding, and ensure all public documents are easily accessible. Being responsive, timely, and transparent will build trust throughout the community.
Yeah, the only thing about this is it's a third rail. It's a different people have different ideas of what the scope of transparency is. And I see this also being used all the time when the process is completely transparent, but you're still being accused that you're being opaque.
how about we make the first sentence, we believe that transparency is essential, period, and then we will strive to uphold, because that third rail that John talks about, that gives us a little bit of wiggle room because of definitions, right?
Yeah, right.
But we will strive to uphold the principles of democracy.
Yes.
I would like it a little stronger than striving. I mean,
Well-
I think that's,
Well,
you know,
But
We
that's
will
just it. Is it your definition? Your definition of democracy may be different than others, right? And so that's the thing that I'm saying is that transparency right now is it's become a catchphrase. It's become a something that people just throw at you, when they don't agree with you. Oh, you're not being transparent. Well, that's not necessarily true. And you can just point to whatever. You can point to the process and say it's totally open, it's totally a public process, and you've had every opportunity to speak. Just the outcome just didn't come to your liking.
I would say,
Yeah.
that this country's been striving for 250 years to uphold the principles of democracy, and I don't know if anybody's gotten it right yet.
No,
In a small city in California, and plus, I'll give you an example. We have a elected
the
council.
way tenets of democracy, go ahead.
Well, we have a council that makes decisions on things like FORTAG and other things. You'll get this thrown back in your face and say that, well, the city didn't get to vote on every single thing. That's
Yeah,
what
right.
democracy is. So it depends on the definition. So I kind of agree with John on that one.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem before, the issue was that we were equating transparency as a principle of democracy. And I think when you have two separate sentences now, it separates, it doesn't necessarily link those two. So, which makes me wonder, do we need to have something about upholding democracy within this paragraph? I don't know, unless we want to strongly link it to transparency, I guess.
That's interesting. I want to say right off the bat, we believe in transparency. Absolutely, we believe in transparency. Again, it's puppies, right? Everyone believes in transparency. They want to know what their government's doing, but then you kind of peel the onion back one more, and different people have different degrees of what they feel they should be involved in. Transparency. Sometimes the government just
So what if we just
So, John, wait,
eliminated the
what-
second sentence?
Well, what if we say we believe that transparency is essential to achieving trust and accountability?
Yeah, that's absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And then we define what that is.
I like that a lot. That's a great. Yeah.
So
Well, I say,
Should-
I'm sorry, take the that out. We believe transparency is a noun, it's a thing, right?
Uh,
Idea.
well, we believe, okay.
do we need the second build trust throughout the community in the last line? If we have achieving trust in the first,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good
right.
question, yeah.
Yeah,
being responsive. I mean, obviously we want, it's nice to have 3 items, but
The power of three.
well, we have those.
well, is timely part of having open communications and transparency? Like I think we're being responsive.
How about we will communicate openly, timely, and transparently?
Right here,
What's the
so,
difference between open and transparent?
No, we already have it in the second sentence, Councilman Shirley.
I see.
We will
Okay,
communicate openly,
openly. Yeah, what else
timely.
did you say? Okay,
And transparently. And then that whole last sentence can go.
I like having ensure all public documents are easily accessible.
Yeah,
They haven't always.
yeah.
okay, so should I delete this?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Okay,
Because we're already
So-
building trust, achieving trust.
I think listening for understanding goes with communicating.
Yeah.
So,
Can we take out listen for understanding?
like complete, like,
We will communicate openly, timely, and transparently, and ensure all public documents are easily accessible.
I think part of communication is understanding, though, is listening.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we need to demonstrate that we are also going to listen to people.
And
We
This is the bullet point where it should
Yeah.
go. Yeah, so can you put
Okay,
that
I
back
guess-
in and let's just play with it? That's a problem with Google Docs
How
version.
about listen for understanding first, because listening is the first part of communication chain. We will listen for understanding,
Yeah,
communicate openly,
Yeah, there we go.
okay, there you go.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay, we will listen for understanding,
Comma.
communicate openly.
and
You-
then
You need to add another L to the beginning of listen. We will listen.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we will listen for understanding, communicate openly, timely, and transparently.
What is the difference
How about-
between openly and transparent?
Yeah, I don't think we need transparently.
What are those? Why are those different?
And do we need
No,
timely?
I wasn't suggesting that we just hack it. I just want to know what the difference is. And if there isn't, then we can.
Well,
The sentence structure doesn't work because the 3, communicate openly, timely, and transparently were connected. Whereas the others, it
No,
just,
but could we just go, we will listen for understanding, communicate openly and timely? Or
you need another verb.
could we communicate transparently? Could we, I don't know.
we will
Oh.
listen for understanding, communicate openly, and respond in a timely manner, period.
Okay,
Okay, I like that.
timely. There you go.
Yeah.
And then
and then-
we will ensure
There's the powers of 3 right there.
all public documents are
Yep.
easily accessible.
Right.
Okay, do we have everything in here? So communications, we listen and we talk. Transparency. Respond. Are we missing anything?
I don't think so. I think that's, I mean, well, Kim, did we
That's
hit
good.
every? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Is anything missing from your original that?
No, I don't,
Okay.
I do worry about that word.
Just take out all.
I wish we could strive for that, but
Well,
yeah,
maybe,
I wonder.
Well, no, public documents is almost a defined term because that is that.
Yeah. that's in the government code.
Yeah. Okay,
So are we ready to move on? Is
Yeah.
John,
we good?
Jeff,
Yeah.
you guys are both good?
Yep.
Okay.
Ethical behavior. We believe the code of ethics is the basis for all of our actions. When we do so, we create governance that is reliable, dependable, and consistent, which increases the trust in our institution.
Yeah, we need to
I like
adjust
the
that.
trust throughout all of it,
Yeah,
which I think is key. The one sentence, when we do so, when we do so, when we believe,
now when we act ethically, or when we, I mean,
Can we take the code of out and just say we believe ethics and just say that ethics is higher than.
Ethical actions create governance that is reliable, dependable, and consistent. which
okay.
Increases the trust in our institution.
So what was that, Jeff? You said ethical what?
Actions
Actions, behavior? Sorry.
so,
or ethical behavior creates
No,
governance that is.
Kim, let's take Chief Stream first and then we can kind of work around that. Well, my question
Okay.
can come later.
should I type out what you're saying, Jeff? I don't know.
Yeah, if you go, instead of when we do so, you could put
Oh, when we
ethical
do so.
behavior creates governance that is reliable, dependable, and consistent. And then ethical, yeah.
We believe the code of ethics is the basis of all of our actions,
I mean, that may just be one sentence. That to me, that kind of says it all.
creates governance that is reliable. It's fine by me.
Just so take the first sentence out and just use that one. It's a one sentence.
Yeah,
One
but I
sentence.
think, I think we need to state though, that we are going to act in a ethical manner. You know,
Brings us
because the
back to
second,
code.
yeah, because the second sentence sort of says what ethical behavior creates for us or does for us. But I think the first sentence actually says that we will be doing it because this is what we believe.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's take then, if we believe. I would even go, we don't need to believe, it is. So,
The code.
yeah, I would just go,
Eliminate we believe.
So, and it would just be the code of exit.
Yep.
The code.
I would just say ethics, I mean, just give ethics. Ethics is the key thing. It's not the code, it's ethics.
But we have a specific code.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're defining it.
Right.
Yeah.
We have defined it.
How about ethical behavior creates governance that is reliable, dependable, consistent, and trustworthy?
Period.
Oh, just
Okay.
period.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's good. I like that.
super. Everybody good?
Yep, I'm good.
John? Okay.
Yeah.
Kim? The
Yeah.
responsiveness to community needs and concerns. We will listen for understanding to our community's needs and concerns. We recognize that we are here to serve our residents and the larger community. We will actively engage in problem solving and facilitating solutions on behalf of DRO residents. I think the first sentence is redundant to the title.
We will listen for understanding to our community's needs and concerns. I
Okay.
think that's a sentence that says like, we will purposely, like, we will hear you. We want to be responsive.
then I think for me, it's just the repetition of the words between the title
Yeah.
and the first sentence.
I'll,
So I totally agree with where you're going, but
I can solve this puzzle in one answer.
Go,
okay,
Jeff, go. Go, Jeff, go.
We recognize that we're here to serve our residents and the larger community, period.
Yeah.
We will actively listen, engage in problem solving, and facilitate solutions on behalf of Delray Oaks residents.
Yeah, I like that too.
perfect.
So just take the first sentence, yeah, put those in and just take the first sentence out and then, yeah.
Okay,
We recognize that we are here to serve residents and the larger community.
facilitate, TATE, but
Facili-
yeah, that's, yeah.
Oh. Facilitate.
There's one too many I's.
Facilitate.
That's good now.
It could be my glasses.
Okay,
It's good now.
okay.
And print out Delray Oaks.
Okay.
It's more of a formal document. I think it looks.
So, how's everybody feeling about this last one?
That's great.
John,
But
you're
just-
good, chief?
Residents and
Yeah.
stakeholders, because we have other people, not just businesses, but non-governmental agencies and.
So do we want to say resident businesses and stakeholders?
You
But
okay?
they
with
would have
that?
to be Delray Oaks. The stakeholders are internal to Delray Oaks, not external, correct?
Not
Well, it could
necessarily.
be both.
Yeah,
What?
It
I
could be
mean, we have
both.
fire department, we have,
Board of Supervisors.
right,
Okay.
CAG, things like that.
right. Everybody good? John?
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
So, I want to do a time check. It just turned 12.
Should I stop sharing?
I think we're good unless we need to come back and reference something.
No, I think you're good.
So, I want to talk a little bit. I mean, we just accomplished a huge amount. And I'd like to hear what you guys think about next steps. And
Vet. Let's just vet. Let's take this out and vet whomever, just vet everybody, say what they agree, whether they agree to this.
So John, who do we vet it with?
Well, it certainly has to be the council and staff. I like the idea of bringing staff into this just because staff has to kind of manifest a lot of this. So yeah, staff should definitely be in there. But I mean, I don't see any reason why the public can't get involved now and start at least read this, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's nothing to hide here, right? We're transparent.
That's right.
So,
I'm just trying to figure out how that happens, right?
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was going to ask Jeff, do you have a suggestion, in terms of taking it to the staff and
Yes.
then having it come back?
If you send me the draft, I can have staff review it. I'll give it to John, I'll give it to the office staff, and then the police officers and folks in our PD. I would suggest that we just bring a set of draft core value definitions to council, perhaps the next meeting, just, for public comment and public input, and then follow up with what the council either slightly edit them based on input or accept them at perhaps the next meeting or that meeting.
yeah,
So would we have the staff comments also by that next meeting?
Yeah, I can make sure that any comments or any issues are brought to that meeting and bring them to the council at that time as the staff representative.
So I'm also wondering, I mean, is bringing this to the council enough as far as public? Do we want to, I don't know, put it out on the website for comment early or, something like that?
We could probably just put it out and say that it'll be discussed at the next council meeting and maybe even an email and send it out and say these are draft definitions and we'll take public input and comment at the next council meeting.
So Jeff, are we thinking the November council meeting? Because
Um,
it seems like, this seems like a lot to do by
yeah, yeah,
October 25th.
yeah, because we want people to, yeah, I was thinking November.
Okay,
Okay, so that'll be interesting as far as it's after the election. Okay. Interesting.
well, the other option is to bring all of this to the next strategic planning
Right.
meeting.
That's an even longer time away, right?
It is, yeah.
And is this something that, I mean, these are core values, right? This isn't, core values shouldn't change just because there's a new council in. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
obviously it can if they want to do that, but if you
Mhm.
have a solid set of core values, the next council should be fine with these. And again, you're going to have, if the staff likes it, I like them. I think they're really good, clear, concise definitions. You're going to have
Yeah.
staff advocating for these core values. So just because somebody might come in after you shouldn't steer you away from making a good decision on good core values now.
Yeah.
And
The
this
other
is just definitions, right? It's just definitions of the core values are not changing. It's just, this is how, this snapshot in time, we define what those core values are.
The
Mhm.
core values should be looked at the next strategic planning. So, and in November, whoever wins will have an opportunity through public comment to make their comments.
Yeah.
And those should be taken into consideration by those of us on the dais.
Mhm.
Okay, so so Jeff, you will take it to staff. And do we need to meet prior?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
If something crazy comes up, which I don't think it's going to, I'll get with everyone.
But what that does mean is the three of us will not see this until the November packet comes out. We won't know
Well-
what changes.
Well, I guess the question is, do we want to have it, like, what if staff comes back with some suggestions? Do we want to incorporate their suggestions in the final document that goes to the council?
Yeah, I think we need to have one more quick meeting to review any changes. If there are no changes, we don't have to have a meeting.
That
But
was
I-
just gonna, right.
but I
was
do
gonna
think
say,
as
if it's
committees-
material, sure, but if it's
I-
not, yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
I think as a committee, we need to, yeah,
So
and
how
it's a
about,
half an hour meeting, you know?
we work on scheduling a meeting and then we could put it out on the website right away. And then I'll collate if there's any staff comments and I'll see if anything comes in via the website. If not, we don't have to have a meeting. If so, we can discuss it at the next meeting prior to the November.
I'm with that, yeah. I don't
So
necessarily want to just schedule meetings for meeting's sake if there's nothing material. I mean, I think this is just
course.
good work, you know? It's gonna be hard for anybody to kind of improve on it, I would guess, so. All right,
So then, can we narrow down a date for that? So our next meeting is, I believe, November 15. So this is just a temporary date in case we need it. So November 14 is Tuesday. I am going in for surgery on the 10th. So I would like it before that.
John, you're probably the one that's least flexible in your times. What works for you?
I really don't have anything scheduled out then. In November, hold on a second. Oh, you know what? I think I have a conference coming up. Let me see what that is. Okay.
So, okay, so when does the, so it should technically be the first week of November.
Yeah, council packet
Yeah.
preparation takes place on
Yeah.
the 7th, starts on the 7th.
Right.
Is a Friday meeting okay, like on the 4th?
I have a mayor's meeting at noon.
10 o'clock on the 4th?
That works for me.
Works
I'm
for me.
just saying, I have a conference. I generally, I will not be at the conference on a Friday, but let me just. I just want to confirm what it is. It's the 2nd and 3rd. So, yeah, so the 4th, I guess, would work. Yeah, that's right.
And this is tentative.
Yeah, right. It's 10.
Yeah.
And I would guess we wouldn't need more than half an hour,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
unless somebody comes back with a slew of changes. But I like the idea of having a document with staff and initial public comments.
Even if it did have changes, I mean, what would we do then? We would just still publish the document with the changes, right? The recommended change. We would not then try to reincorporate that, right?
Well, why not?
I was,
Because maybe we don't necessarily agree with the changes or something. I mean, I think at that point, the whole council maybe should be involved.
I would suggest that if there are valid suggestions, we just print what we have now with
Yeah.
some of the valid
Yeah, like a red line,
suggestions.
yeah.
And
And then take that to the council.
yes,
So then, does that warrant then having needing or necessitate the need for a meeting or necessitate a meeting? If that's what we're going to ultimately do, if they're whether they're material changes or not, we should probably just publish what the original with the recommended changes, and then that all just kind of goes out.
I think it might, a tentative meeting might be okay in case there's a bunch of some goofy suggestions or
Right, okay.
things that are,
Yeah.
you know, opposite core values. We can just take those off. That helps us have a more concise list of possible suggestions. for
Perfect.
council.
All
Well,
right.
and I think there's a difference between staff comments and, you know, perhaps some public comments. I mean, the public comments, I agree. I think those should be brought up during the council meeting, but the staff comments, I think, deserve us incorporating them.
Yeah, I agree. I sort of feel like these are our core values coming from our organization, which is, you know, us and staff. And then we bring that forward, and then at the council, I guess we can also incorporate public comments, or, you know, they can take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But so I think doing some editing, if there's something that's glaringly missing, would be appropriate at that meeting.
Okay.
I would also be fine, Jeff, with you. You will be gathering the staff feedback. And at this next meeting, if we have it, if you can, play how you play with the words. And then all we have to do is compare what we came up with and what you've come up with, and then we can, see the difference.
Okay, yeah, I could do some editing and.
Does that make sense? Kim, you're
Yeah.
looking a little.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, you know, he's good at it. So please,
Yeah.
if he could front load any of this, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then we're just, reviewing it all, reviewing your document and any changes. And then the public comments will all be, it seems to me, gathered and presented at the council meeting.
Okay, and I've sent out a tentative placeholder, and then
Perfect.
I'll have Karen set up a Zoom meeting if we really need to do it, and send out the link at that time.
And will you also send out that link to the article you referenced earlier?
I believe I sent it
Did
already.
you? Okay, sorry, I'm paying attention to the screen.
No, yeah, no, I think I sent it. If you didn't get it, let me know and I'll send it out. It's just a good article to read, even though we're at where we're at anyway, so.
Wonderful. Well, you guys, thank you so much. This has been good. I want to thank Kim in particular for slapping some mud on the wall for us to play with.
Nice.
I think it's been really beneficial. So
Nice to work with all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay.
Okay.
All right,
So
See
Jeff,
guys. Thank
you will let us know if we need a meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
And Jeff, I will send you the document.
thank you. I was gonna
Okay.
ask that next, so.
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
thanks.
All right,
Will do.
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Okay,
Bye.
we're adjourned.
bye.
Thank you.